Privilege is, so to speak, an invisible package of advantages and benefits that white people do not earn based on any type of merit, but simply their skin tone. White privilege is something that most white people aren't aware of that they possess, because the privilege is the ability to be unaware to other people's realities, in the sense that we only have to think about our race, our culture, our identity, and can completely neglect and ignore any other racial, cultural identity. And this is perfectly acceptable, which is why we have things such as Black History Month or a Hispanic History Month. We don't have a White History Month because every month celebrates and reinforces the white race. No one's going to accuse me of playing a race card, when in reality I play my race card every single day, but it's perfectly okay. No one's going to give me a negative response for doing so.
I can move into a neighborhood pretty much anywhere I want to and not have people think like, oh my God, the white people are invading our neighborhood. I can't believe they're here. What are we going to do? Where are we going to move now? Because they're here and more people are going to come just like them. I actually am with somebody who is of another race, and his family moved into a neighborhood that was predominantly white, and actually had somebody come up to me physically and say, hi, welcome to the neighborhood, and completely ignore everybody else that was standing around me who is of a different race, because they assumed that those people couldn't, I guess, afford to live in that neighborhood, even though I really can't afford to live in that neighborhood. And they can. So that's definitely something that sticks out to me. Also, I can go shopping. I can do a lot of activities without somebody watching me constantly thinking that I'm going to steal. I go shopping with a big purse and I never have anybody follow me. I don't ever have anybody asking me questions to look in my purse or anything like that. I can go to the airport relatively quickly, get through customs pretty quickly, and not have to worry about them. Are they going to, profile me? Are they going to say that I look like a terrorist?
White privilege benefits me in a lot of different ways, not necessarily just material or financial acquisition, but I feel comfortable, safe walking in anywhere, any public establishment, without the fear of someone harassing me or having negative feelings about my presence. I can feel secure in having a place to live that I can afford without toxicity issues or safety issues of my location. I know that I will be able to find housing in a school district for my son without having to worry about his education. I feel confident that I will be accepted everywhere that I go. And not only will I be accepted, but I will most likely be in the majority. I will have people who look just like me around me most of the time.
I'll go with my girlfriend to go look at Coach purses, and as long as I'm dressed reasonably well, no one will come up and hassle us. But I've seen, African American people being followed if they're looking at not even Coach purses, just in the cheap purse section. So, people tend to think they're gonna steal more, I guess, and I don't get bothered as much about it. At least I feel, because of my race, maybe my age, or if I have like a grungy appearance, but. Yeah.
I know that if I'm driving a luxury car around, I'm going to be thought of as someone who is either spoiled by her father or a rich husband or something, but definitely not I'm some drug dealer or obtain my vehicle through illegal means. I know that I will always be able to find myself represented in the media, in fashion, in hair care and beauty care. My skin tone, my race will always be available for me. And that's definitely an advantage that a lot of people may not be aware of, because it's the norm. And you aren't aware of these things unless they're not made available to you.
Another example, this actually happened to me, was there's one time I had some pants that I wanted to return, and I realized I didn't have the receipt. Now, in this day and age, you usually don't have to worry about that anymore, but at this time, they needed the receipt for verification. Well, I just walked up to them and said, hey, I don't have my receipt for these pants. And instead of giving me any hassle, they were just like, okay, yeah, just go ahead and go grab what you need and just come back and we'll do a return. And when that happened, I kind of, as I was walking away, kept thinking, this would probably not have been the way this situation would have went down if I would have been a person of color. And that really stuck with me for a long time. Just that day, and even today, I bet that's been years, and I still think about that.
Just the fact that I don't have to think about myself as white whenever I want to go into a store, when I want to go to a job interview, when I want to move into a different neighborhood. I don't have to think, oh, are these people going to accept me for this job, for this friendship, for this neighborhood based on my race? Are they going to assume things about me just because I am white? I don't have to have those thoughts. I don't ever have to think about that. It never pops into my mind. I have the privilege of being able to think about other things. I can focus on things that are important to me rather than having to really worry so much about, are people going to judge me because my skin is this color?
White privilege is something that also affects me in the way of beauty. I am deemed closer to the standard of beauty because I have light hair, I have light eyes, I have light skin, I have the body type, I have most things that fit in this artificial mold of what beauty is supposed to be. Therefore, I will never be subject to discrimination because my skin is too dark or my hair is too not texturally desirable or whatever it may be.
Well, I guess a more general example, would be the music industry, whereas African American and Latino artists are almost exclusively in like hip hop, R&B, but there's also plenty of white artists in those genres as well. But white people also are in every other genre, and they pretty much dominated. Like, I can't remember the last time I saw an African American or Latino country singer, or there are some examples in like hard rock, but not very many.
White privilege in terms of education has benefited me as far as my parents gave it to me, and I will also be able to benefit, or it will be able to benefit my son as well. And this is something very relevant to me as he becomes school age. But because of his race, because of my race, because of our ability to live and be within an education system that kind of supports and reinforces our race, is going to benefit him through his entire educational career. He will see in all of his classes that his race is going to be reinforced as the positive, the hero in the history books, as far as the ones who founded this nation, and then white people are ones that are credited with a lot of great accomplishments, whereas people of color are usually a side note. There are very few that are actually accredited with great things, when in reality many different people of many different races and backgrounds were contributors. However, my son will have the benefit of his race always being the one to show up as the dominant one, the better one, the more successful, the more accomplished one. And that's something that will continue this sense of privilege and within him and the children he goes to school with. And it's unfair, but that's what white privilege is.